How's it going? I'm Edwin.
How's it going?
My question is, how did you guys start out? It's usually a very different, interesting story with each one. And also, just to get out of the way, Chris, could you please yell, "It's over 9,000"?
I got here 30 minutes ago. I'm sure I would have done it right off the bat. Fine. It's over 9,000! Am I supposed to pose when I do it or something? No. It ain't happening, man.
Alright, so how'd you get your start, Chris?
Okay. Everyone, as you said, has really different stories. I was in an astronomy class at the University of North Texas, trying to finish up the last couple classes because that was one of the ones I just put off to the very end, of a radio, television, and film degree at the University of North Texas, and I got a page. I know some of you don't know what that is. You'll have to look it up on the internet, on the smartphone. Just imagine if you had to carry like a Twinkie with you everywhere. But the Twinkie weighed like, it was made out of metal and it weighed like a pound, and you'd be lucky if you got a number that you had to find a payphone to call someone back at. Anyway, I got a page in astronomy class and I called my friend back. Her name's Carly Hunter. She's the, I guess at the time, she was a rotoscoper. She just would, frame by frame, take out naughty bits out of the show that weren't allowed to go on TV. She's the one who was forced to paint HFIL on their shirts during those early days, and like, you know, turn Master Roshi's beer into grape soda or something. But she said, "Hey, I know you do voices and you've done a lot of radio stuff in the past," because that's what I had been doing prior to going to North Texas. Said, do you want to come out and, you should come out and audition. We're auditioning for this Japanese cartoon I work on. I'm like, all right, whatever. I've seen all the Japanese cartoons I need to. I've seen Ghost in the Shell and Akira. I'm pretty much prepared. So I went out, auditioned for it. A month later, I found out I got the role of Yamcha and Igor on this show called, a Dragon Ball movie called Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. I don't know if you guys remember that. First thing I ever did. It was awful, and at the time they were just their recording booth was like this cup, plugged into this can, plugged into this microphone. It was a pretty dumpy system, but it was a test to see if they could do it. And we did it, and a month later they said, "Would you be interested in helping us cast and direct the Dragon Ball Z series?" I'm like, "The Dragon what series?" Like, "It's right here. This is the series." I'm like, "Oh, okay, explain. Who's this character?" "That's Goku." "Oh, okay. Who's that one?" "That's Goku." "Well, no, but that one has blonde hair." "Yeah, that's Goku as well." Well, then which one said, is that Goku?" "No, that's Gohan." I'm like, "Oh, then that's Gohan?" "No, that's Kid Goku." "Well, is that Goku?" They're like, "No, that's Super Saiyan Gohan." I'm like, "Ah, well then there's Goku, right?" "No, that's Yamcha." Yeah, it was really confusing, and then they handed me about 8,000 video cassettes that I put in a giant box near my pager when I slept, and then I had to watch the series as much. All that we had was all the way through just maybe the I guess the Ginyu Force. That's all the videotapes they had. And man, I was wishing for a faster fast forward during all of the Gohan training in the woods stuff. It's the most boring stuff ever. But anyway, that's my story, and if you don't stop me, I'm just going to talk right over everyone else. So, I'm done.
All right, Brina.
What about you?
All right, well, I mean, I've already talked for like 20 minutes, but I got my start actually in radio, Album 88 here in Atlanta. Was on 99X here in Atlanta when the Olympics came to town. That blew up nicely. Went out to Dallas, was on the air in the afternoons in Dallas. And remember, I also mentioned doing a lot of improv comedy. Well, one of my buddies that did improv comedy was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Mike McFarland, right? Mike invited me in to do some Walla one day on a couple of series, Dragon Ball Z and some other things. And then my first big starring role was in Lupin III, Dragon of Gold. Lupin III. Gensai of colonies. Gensai of 100 colonies. And then I also did, actually I was rugby on Yu Yu Hakusho. And then I was a lot of the monsters. And And then, of course, once you get into the system at Funimation, they'll call you in all the time. And again, I auditioned for some of the good guy roles for Sergeant Frogs, for instance. And guess who did not get it? Guess who did get it?
So weird, our voices are so similar.
Exactly. So what about you?
Well, when I was in high school, I was a really big fan of Dragon Ball Z.
She made out with her husband to Dragon Ball Z. They were watching Dragon Ball Z and listening to my voice while they were making out.
Actually, funny story, our first kiss was while watching Dragon Ball Z. So anyway, we had taken the... Fort Worth, and so we took the long drive to wherever Funimation was then.
North Richmond Hills.
Yeah, North Richmond Hills. And Chris Sabat was actually in the booth when and with my husband and I just started making out while he was voice acting. Not really. So I remember watching Chris voice act and thinking, wow, he's really bad. I'm just kidding. No, I kept thinking, like, I feel like I could do that. That seems like it would be really fun. And so when I graduated high school, I ended up going to a community college that was just, 2 miles away from where Funimation was, and I just walked in and I asked how to audition. And at the time, they had open auditions a lot more often, and so they put me on a waiting list. I waited 2 months, and my first audition was for Case Closed. And with Mike McFarlane, and so he was really nice and called me in to do a lot of Bits and Walla, which Bits and Walla, as nasty as that sounds, is just like the bit parts and anytime you see a crowd scene, and they will put like 3 or 4 people in the booth, just kind of talk about like, I would like to buy some oranges, yes, what's the price, just that kind of thing. So I did that for probably 2 years before I got any sort of big part. My first notable role was Nina Tucker in Full Metal Alchemist, and then it just kind of, thank you, yeah, it just kind of grew and grew, and then Colleen Klinkenbeard kind of took me under her wing and asked me to start directing for her, and then from there I just started doing a lot of different things and started branching out and doing video game stuff, and I directed a little bit for Chris, and then here I am at DragonCon.
And that's what happens. We've only got about 10 minutes left, but remember, as you network and as you make friends and meet people, this is not competitive, it's collaborative, right? Together, everyone achieves more. It's all about the team. And again, a lot of our success